So welcome to Eileen Troemel's 10th Authorversary celebration. I might have called it a bookiversary earlier, or repeatedly elsewhere in things. And that's okay, probably, because you can't have a book without an author. And you can't really have the author if you're not doing the books. So they're kind of interchangeable, right? Anyway, I am live in the Mama Namid reviews book group. So if you have any questions, find the post and ask the questions. Otherwise, I am just going to prattle off a lot. I have a whole half hour to do so. So you might be in trouble. Anyway, so I can't remember how I met Eileen. I really can't. And that's a common theme in my life, that if I have good friends, I can't remember how I met them at all. And that's nobody's fault but my own. Maybe theirs. I don't know. So I can't remember how I met Eileen. I just know that I've known her for a long time. She's done a lot of things with me. She's done a lot of things for me, and I appreciate it. She's read everything I've ever put up, with the exception of maybe my newer stuff that's on Royal Road, and that's fine because it's newer. She hasn't gotten around to it. She's a very busy lady. She has lots of books. She gave me some covers for some of them. Here they are. So go check these out. Sacrifice to a sea monster. That sounds like a bad time. But it's probably a good time, because it's, it's anything like a book I wrote, then it's a good time. Yep. She has written a lot. She's a very prolific author, and I have a great amount of respect for authors who can be so prolific. Since it's her 10th Authorversary, I think it's tradition to deliver spankings with a book. We're gonna have to ask her husband to do that for us. He needs to take an edition of something she wrote and smack her on the ass with it. Do you think? I don't know. That sounds like a good idea to me, right? You don't know what I'm thinking. That probably sounds like a good idea to everyone. I'm gonna go make sure that everything is doing the thing, because I want to. Scroll. Is it doing the thing? I don't see the post. Am I doing it wrong? Yeah, okay. So, you might think me picking on Eileen is like saying, hey, the stream's her fault. It is her fault. She's like, hey, come say hi. And that's why I did it. So that's her fault, yeah. Anyway, I haven't read these two books yet. I need to. I'm sure they're fantastic, because the stuff she writes is pretty fantastic. So eventually I'll get to talking about myself, which is something else I like to do. I also like talking about cats. I did see that one of the moderators in this group was a Final Fantasy player, which means that she's familiar with Viera and therefore knows where my avatar comes from, because it comes from Final Fantasy XIV. Anyway. Can you tell that I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with the whole live streaming into Facebook? You know why? Because I haven't done it before. Doop-a-doop. I should, like, tag people or something. So I made this library. I'm actually pretty proud of the library. It's be going into an AI generating thing and asking for a library and then fiddling with the design until I get it right, because the first time it did it, it gave me like a really gross sort of looking thing. You have to type in medieval and dusty and has lantern and candles and blah 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 blah. Because it has no idea what it's doing, and I don't think artists should be really that concerned about it because they really suck. Like, AI stuff is this is fine, but it took a lot of finagling to get it, so you guys aren't out of a job yet, I promise. But I don't think I could have put this together on my own. I mean, I know what I'm doing in an art program, but this would have been a little bit of a bitch. Anyway, I keep looking over to see if I have any questions, and I do not. So, I think, well, I've done a commercial for one of Eileen's books. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Might have to mute my music while I'm doing it, but that's okay. It's gonna be under this. Okay. Yep. Let's see if it makes sense. So just keep playing. I thought it was cute. I can't hear it. You guys probably can. It's probably really freaking loud too. Anyway. Happy 10 years, Eileen. I made you a banner. I made you a live stream too. Is this the best Authorversary present you could get? Probably not. I can imagine that other people are like, yeah, that's a thing. Look, it's a thing. I got my hair did. It's usually white, but I dyed it red because, you know, Redstone, Morgan, Redstone. Yeah, the whole association with that. Right. The funny thing is, I had to take my glasses off to get my eyeballs tracked. So, I'm not wearing my glasses in reality. But I have glasses here, and they don't help. They do nothing. Anyway, I am a writer of weird smut. My latest series, this one is Wizard and the Wench Book 2. This is probably my latest book that I've put out. This is the 6th book in my Sisters of Silence series. I have had people start with this one and be kind of confused as to why they started with this one. I don't know why they started with this one. This is the complete collection of them. There's 7 books in total, but I call it the Sexy Sextet because it's got that word in it. It's really a septet, you know, because of 7 books. That's how it works. This is the first cover for Wizard and the Wench. This is book 1 in that 2-book series. Eileen really liked this one. That's why I'm including it. I've done most of my covers up until Wizard and the Wench. I made my covers, and you can tell that they're kind of amateurish, but I like them anyway. This is my Halloween collection. It's got 3 stories. I really liked the 3rd story in that one. This one was my intro to Morgan Redstone. If you are not quite sure about the kind of things that I'm going to write, then do that one. I think I need a little bit more time on these particular slides, so I'm going to go ahead and increase the time between the slides to a little bit higher. There we go. So yeah, Finding Feathers was the introduction to my stuff. It came later, but it's one of those things where if you write a book and you don't know what's going on in it, and you don't want to know if like the writer's too crazy, then go read that one. This is the first one I published, Kidnapped by a Bondage Cult. It clearly tells you what it's about. I still have people be like, 1 star. Why would you pick that up if you're gonna hate it? I should probably make this so that this rotates between things instead of doing it randomly. But you know, these are things that you don't think about when you start. Alright, we're back to this one. Anyway, so first book cover I made was this one. Simple, easy. Got a figure, put it on black. Made it reddish. This one was actually done by a professional artist on Facebook I met. I love her work, and I still love her work because she made stuff for me. And it came out really great. I have no idea anyone is even watching this, and I'm not going to worry about it right now. The second book to Wizard and Wench. It is a happy ending. There is a reason why she's in a fancy dress like that. And I did describe it in the book, and I gave the description to the artist, and she was like, okay. So she did her best, and it looks pretty cool to me. This one, the series was getting too serious, so I went and got a little goofy. I like being a little goofy. I don't like when things are too serious, because it's just no fun if it's too serious. Can I do an at everyone? I can. Right. Can I go ahead and get this off of here for now? I think we need more wacky things like people streaming and talking about stuff. But we might not. Who knows? Cool. Anyway, I'm really glad that she has worked on writing for 10 years. I started in October of 2016, and that's when I sold my first story to an online magazine, and it wasn't under Morgan Redstone. It was under my own name, and I'm not telling you that because my family cannot read my things. They really can't. Holy crap. Anyway, that's why I'm Morgan Redstone instead of Bob Newhart or something. That'd be a terrible name to be stuck with unless you were actually the Bob Newhart. So I also like to do a writing stream on my YouTube channel. And if you've ever seen a writing stream, I don't know why they exist. Mine, I at least try to answer questions if people ask me questions about the writing process, because the writing process is one of those things that's unique to everyone. And you wanna kind of ask around and see what people think about the whole writing process, and say, hey, what do you do? How, what do I do? What's the difference? And how do things happen? And that's just one of those goofy questions that people ask. And one of the things that I like to say is, when somebody asks me, hey, where do you get your ideas? I like to say, hey, ideas are a river, or a series of rivers. They can kind of flow into each other and out of each other. And they come from the source, which is inspiration. And they flow out in 4 different rivers. You've got river excellent, you've got river good, you've got river bad, and you've got river really, really stupid. And so if you've got your ideas flowing into river stupid, you're probably not going to use them. But what can happen is it can flow into river bad. And it could flow into river good or even river excellent eventually. So they kind of like interconnected ugly rivers. And river good can occasionally flow into river stupid when you're like, oh wait, that's a really terrible idea. Like, okay, have you ever been sitting down writing something and you're thinking, okay, well, this person has this, and they have a superpower or something, and you're like, wait a minute, why don't they just pick up the phone and be like, hey, there's a problem here. And now you're like, oh, this is dumb, because they could just call someone and solve the whole problem. So now you got to go back and you got to see if that idea that you thought was good really is in the wrong river stupid, because it might be in the river stupid. In the Sisters of Silence, it is a modern day thing, so they have cell phones and they do use them. And it doesn't really help because the emergencies are on hand and you can't really deal with them by waiting for someone to come help you. So that's a good way of handling modern day cell phones and communication. Other things that you also have to deal with are when a character is irrational, like why? I remember one of my stories of Mice and Men in college. I wrote a paper on it, and I said, this guy, main character, and spoilers, the dopey dumb guy he's got with him is going to cause problems, and he knows he's going to cause problems because he's seen him cause problems before. And so in my paper I wrote, well, he had to go be dumb, because if he wasn't dumb and he didn't treat the situation in the wrong way, there wouldn't be a book. It would just be another day in the life story, as opposed to, oh, now he has this dilemma. Spoilers, he has to shoot the dumb guy. It's only a 70-year-old book. Come on. I'm joking about the spoilers. Whatever. It's like spoilers for Passion of the Christ. He dies at the end. There you go. I ruined it for you. Anyway. But if you have to have a character who's normally smart and competent be stupid in order for the book to continue on, then that has gone from, everything's gone from river good to river stupid, and you're like, oh crap. So what you need to do is you need to come up with something else. You really shouldn't have left him alone. But anyway, he should have been like, oh, I don't have a choice but to leave them alone because the house is burning down and I need to go do something. But that's not really feasible in that particular situation, I suppose. I'm just going to ramble about things because that's what I do. I'm very good at rambling about things. I have rambled for 20 minutes. Right. I hope Eileen likes her banner. I was going to change the color of it. I don't know what color she likes the best. But she's not here communicating with me, so it's fine. Anyway, other things about the writing process, it's one of the hardest things I find to do is to actually like get started. You know, when you're a kid and you're like, I don't want to take a bath, but then once you start, you don't want to get out of the bath. Or I don't want to get to bed, but once you're in bed, you don't want to get out of bed because it's nice there. So getting started on the writing process is kind of difficult for me sometimes because I need to and I enjoy it. And I'm going to probably do a writing stream after this on my YouTube channel. Which is also Morgan Redstone. You can probably find that in my Instagram and all that other stuff everywhere. Anyway, getting started can be difficult, and that's the thing where I just gotta kind of do it. So hopefully that helps people. Just do it. Nike writing. I don't know. I got nothing. The other thing that people ask me about is how do I deal with writer's block? And the answer to writer's block is that you write writer's crap until you get back to the river good. And then you go back and you either come up with a different idea or delete that and start over in that section that's crap. This is your crap section. And or revise. I mean, things happen. You could literally even write and then some stuff happened, and then you go on to the next scene, and what you find is that when you go back to that, you know what happens next specifically, so you know how you need to get there, and you know what various minutiae that you added needs to like be referenced, so that you can put it into that crappy part that you couldn't come up with before. Just don't put a story out there with, you know, name in brackets, character name brackets, because that's unprofessional and you don't want to do that. I've never done that before. I thought I did once, and that was on my story that's on Royal Road. I have one called The Stars in the Night, and it's a futuristic sort of love story with two characters in a virtual reality world, dealing with ramifications of a virtual reality world that are, and the world's not really super understood. There's secrets, and those particular secrets are going to be a lot of fun when I get around to revealing them, but I have a long way to go because I am only on chapter 14, and I don't actually know how long it's supposed to be, or where I'm going with it, or what I'm doing. All I know where I'm going with it. I don't know all of the places I'm going with it, but I know the big place I'm going with it. I have the river that flows to that continent over there, but not the other stuff. The boats and the people. You know. If you want your name in one of those as a character that's just kind of a throwaway character, let me know. And I'll put you in there. I was originally going to do that for people on Patreon, but you know, like all Patreons, it doesn't actually generate any money for me, so yeah, whatever. Whoever does win the book contest today is going to win a copy of the Sexy Sextet, Sisters of Silence Sexy Sextet, and that is the wonderful story of a lady who gets kidnapped by a bondage cult and thrown to their god, and he is a slime monster. And she gets along swimmingly with him because they have the same tastes. And instead of him just kind of like using her and throwing her away like he's done to everybody else, he decides that, well, they kind of decide that fuse together and become one being. And there it is. She's got a monster living inside her, in between the spaces that she normally wouldn't have anything. She's not the smartest character, so she doesn't really think of the ramifications of, hey, I'm living my life with a monster inside me. But it can make clothing for her, it can keep her healthy, it can feed her, it can do all the other things, it can heal her wounds. And she doesn't quite realize that she now weighs an awful lot, because it just makes her feel like she's, you know, what she normally is. Well, of course, the other thing is that the bondage world exists, and they all have special superpowers from mating with this thing. And so they're all telepathic, and it's a short-range telepathy. Yeah, they just kind of run around as a bunch of bondage nuns. It's all cool. That's the kind of stuff I write. Bondage nuns with telepathic powers. Sometimes. One of them has eye beams and super strength, and the other one is just heals from pain because she's like that. It's got some weird stuff in it, and the books get kind of involved and kind of weird, but that's okay because that's the kind of stuff I write. If you do read Finding Feathers, I apologize in advance for the tearjerker ending. It's not my fault. It just kind of happened that way. And it's something that surprises me when it shows up, and it's something that I'm just going to keep doing whenever it shows up. When something surprises you. Because you're writing it. Anyway. That is almost my time up. So, thank you for letting me come and live stream into your group. Mama Namid. I think that's a joke, and I don't get it. Is it a joke, and I don't get it? I don't... Look, there's just stuff that goes on around me that I don't get, and it's fine. And Mama Namid sounds like some sort of... like... redneck fish person. Like, sitting on a deck on a ramshackle shack that's underwater. You know, like a big fish person. They've got like a big shotgun. And get off my ocean. Blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing. That's what it sounds like. I don't know where I'm going with this. And I never really do know where I'm going with anything. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. My background music is by a bunch of YouTubers called the Fichter Brothers. They have like fantasy and magical music by the Fichters. It's a good channel. I bought this music from them though, so it's all good. Anyway, happy 10th Authorversary again, Eileen. I hope it was a good one, and that'll be all from me. So I'll see you later. Bye.